What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Kari, and you're watching Kari.HQ right now. So let's get started with today's video. I got a lot of great tips and information for y'all, and I'm gonna just let y'all know right now what we're talking about. Today's topic is all about where to go out in Medellin now in 2024. So as you guys know, tourism has grown in Medellin. And as that happens, so does the nightlife. There's always more options. There's always more places to go every single year. And over the years, I have learned about very many other places that are outside of Poblado and Provenza that you can go that have very nice clubs and discotecas. They're much cheaper, and you get to really party with more locals and everything. And for me, it's much easier to meet women and things like that at those places, right? So let's get into it. I'm gonna tell you guys about a few of my favorite spots throughout the city that you guys can go check out. You know, I used to gatekeep this information because I didn't want everyone knowing about all the spots to go to because I didn't want them to change, but I don't even go out as much as I used to. So here, I'm giving y'all all the good information, all the sauce right now on where to go for a good time in Medellin, Colombia. So most of y'all will likely hit up Provenza and J.R.S. on your first go around here in Medellin, and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? But in this video, I will put you on to some new spots, some other areas in the city where you can go and have a more authentic Colombian experience. I'll be focusing on clubs or discotecas, as they say here, where you can enjoy the most popular music here in Medellin, which is definitely reggaeton. However, most clubs will likely mix in a little salsa from time to time. The reason I ended up exploring different parts of the city is because, quite honestly, things changed. And I started to notice a different crowd in Provenza and Poblado that I just didn't like as much. The crowd changed from, you know, more local Colombians to primarily gringos with their dick in their hand and working women trying to disguise themselves as normal women in hopes of finding a guy that they could run game on. So if you go out to Provenza now, you'll likely see both of those groups there. I always enjoyed real connection over fake connection. The fake connection that these types of women that you'll find in Provenza and Poblado provide. And therefore, I began to branch out. Most of the time, I would discover a new place whenever a local would invite me out somewhere that I've never been before. Now, to start off, let's take it all the way north to the top of the key to 𝐦𝐨𝐵𝐿, a place where I spent a lot of time. I lived out there for a little while, but 𝐦𝐵𝐿 has some of the best and most affordable clubs here in the city. And they have some of the most beautiful women that come from 𝐦𝐵𝐿. So a little hidden gem up in 𝐦𝐵𝐿 is this area that's right south of the new big mall there, Fabricato. The area, you might know it as Obrero, and there you could find a bunch of different clubs. And the reason why I like it there is because it's hard to spend a bunch of money. I mean, spending 50 or 100 mil peso, you know, you're gonna have a great time. You can get a couple bottles and really just turn up. Whereas though the same bottle might cost you triple, quadruple that in Poblado. Most of the people up there drink normal liquor like aguardiente or ron, the caldas and stuff like that. You won't see the most high-end liquors there, but they should have, you know, whiskey and things like that. So one of the places I like to go there is it's a gas station, guys, that they convert into like several different clubs. Up there, they call it the Bomba because that's how you say gas station in Spanish. So a local in 𝐦𝐵𝐿 might say, hey, you're going to the Bomba, and they know what you're talking about, you know, if you're talking about going out at that time, right? So there's a few different clubs there. I suggest you just show up, get a feel for it, walk around and pick the club that looks most poppin' for you and you like the music, because you can hear the music from outside and you'll see where everyone's going as well. Now, right up the street from there, if you cross the street and walk up a little bit, about 2 blocks, there's another strip of clubs in 𝐦𝐵𝐿 that you can find, and I'll show you guys that on the map. Now over there, it's the same thing. It's normal prices, very cheap, very local. Again, beautiful women, nice people. And I know I'm going to get the question of, isn't it dangerous up there in 𝐦𝐿? And honestly, in my opinion, not so much. It's all about how you move. If you are lollygagging around with expensive things on, you might attract the wrong type of attention. But in general, they're not trying to mess with nobody up in 𝐥𝐤 because they got their street laws in effect, and what goes around comes around up there. So I would say, it'd be good to know a little bit of Spanish. If you really are uncomfortable speaking Spanish and you don't know how to blend in, maybe don't go up there. But for those that are ready to go up there and have adjusted to life in Medellin and know how to act and carry themselves, you should have no problem there. So next up, I want to talk about another one of my favorite spots, which happens to be Buenos Aires. Buenos Aires has a few great gyms over there. Most notably for me is this club called Cosmopolitan. Cosmopolitan is situated on the second floor, right off the main strip in Buenos Aires. And it actually is right above where the train car passes. It's like a metro car that goes up the hill there and takes people home, right? So Cosmopolitan is great. I always see beautiful women there, and it's always a good vibe. They always have some really good DJs. They usually have dancers coming through. And again, this is a place where the bottles might be 60 mil, 70 mil for, the local alcohol. So we're talking $15-20 here, and you get a table with it. You can't say that for most of the places in Poblado. On a good night in Buenos Aires, you will find a very vibrant atmosphere. A lot of the people might not even have the money to go into the club, so they hang out outside, they drink, and do everything. You'll see motos passing, people doing wheelies and all type of stuff. It's the real barrio lifestyle up there. And I love it because the music is very good and the locals are awesome to hang out with. I've met several beautiful women in Buenos Aires. If you know, you know. Now, let's talk about Laureles. And for the longest time, Laureles was a place I didn't like to go to because it was mostly salsa music. I love salsa, but when I want reggaeton, and that's more often than I want salsa. But with the recent addition of 2 new clubs that play reggaeton, I've been going there much more lately. The 2 clubs I'm talking about are Logia and Dulcinea. Okay, they're a bit bougie at times, but it's because one is owned by a popular streamer, Colombian streamer called 𝐦𝐨𝐬. That would be Dulcinea. And the other one, Logia, is right around the corner, so they kind of feed off each other. Especially Dulcinea, I've heard them ask some pretty astronomical prices to get in there, up to 80 mil just for a cover, and with a minimum spend of like $1 million, up to $3 million at times. So Dulcinea is really just the most new spot in Medellin. I think the prices will probably come down, but a lot of influencers go there. But for me, it's kind of a notable mention. It's not my favorite club. I went there once, and I don't have to go back. And some of those more bougie places, those women are not so easy to talk to, and so I would prefer Logia. Logia is popping. They have great music, always a good time. It was 40 mil cover last time I went there. And, the bottles are a little bit more expensive. It's not so local. I mean, Laureles is a little touristy. Let's be honest. So, but I think that you will meet some beautiful, beautiful women in there in Logia and Dulcinea if you're willing to pay a little bit more. And then right outside, when everything's over, when people are leaving the club, you can't beat Laureles for street action, catching the spill, as we say back home. And I'm going to Laureles more than I ever used to because I like those 2 clubs. Next up, we cannot forget to mention the strip of clubs in 𝐦𝐤𝐤, right off the autopista or the freeway. You probably rode by it a million times and never even knew it was a bunch of clubs. But yes, in 𝐦𝐤𝐤, they have a ton of different clubs right off the freeway. And they're actually open very, very late over there, usually to like 7, 8 in the morning. Like, I've left over there with the sun coming up and it's almost bright outside. Not too many tourists know about that area of 𝐦𝐤𝐤 or that you can go out and have a good time in 𝐦𝐤𝐤. But yeah, you can find every type of music over there. They got electronic clubs, they got reggaeton clubs, and they got salsa and ranchero music and all different types of music. They even used to have a American music place or a place that played like Afro beats or reggae or something. I'm not sure if that one is still there, but in 𝐦𝐤𝐤, you're going to have a good time there because it's open late and it's a great option for like an after party, guys. If you are leaving, let's say La Chula, and it closes at 3 a.m. or something like that, all the clubs that close at like 3, maybe 4 a.m., you can always go to 𝐦𝐤𝐤 after that. And for sure, you're going to see hordes of beautiful women over in 𝐦𝐤𝐤. Just be careful because a lot of the working girls like to go over there as well. Those are the main places that I wanted to bring to your attention today. So we got 𝐥𝐤𝐤, we got Buenos Aires, we got the new spots in Laureles, we got 𝐦𝐤𝐤. And, you know, that's not everything. I think Manrique deserves a notable mention as well, up there by 45. Anyone from Manrique knows the area around 45 Street. They have a lot of great clubs over there as well. And, of course, it's very local and, you know, it's cheaper. So definitely check out 45 or Calle 45 in Manrique. They do have some good clubs. I just haven't been there as much as the other places. So that's why it's kind of just a notable mention. And if you're determined to stay in the Poblado area, I can still recommend some other places that are close by Geras and Provenza, but, you know, they're a little bit better to me. So I can recommend a place that I've been going for years. This is one of the first places I ever been out clubbing here in Medellin, but it's La Chula. And it's been around for years, like I said, and the crowd is not diminished at all. There's still always, you know, a lot of people there. Sometimes you can't even get in anymore. So La Chula has been killing it for years, and it's right up off of Avenida Palmas, right next to the 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐤 and all that. So they're decently priced, and they'll work with you if you get a bottle and stuff. Like, you can reserve tables and stuff. A lot of people get reservations nowadays. You used to be able to walk right in. But the good thing about La Chula, and that one specifically, because there's another La Chula in 𝐦𝐤𝐤 in the area that I mentioned earlier, the La Chula in Las Palmas has 3 different clubs in one. So they got one that plays reggaeton, one that plays like more salsa and like that type of music, and then one that's like a mixture of everything. The atmosphere over there is absolutely awesome. And I would say the crowd over there is more of a classier crowd. I always see women that are dressed really nice in La Chula. You know, there's always a lot of women there in general. I would say even more women that you typically see in Provenza, that once you disqualify the working women and all that, La Chula be popping. You're likely to see a lot of Colombians with money at La Chula. Because it's separated from the walking area of Provenza, most people pull up in cars or taxis, you know, so it costs a little bit more money. And it's not that cheap to get bottles there, like in 𝐥𝐤𝐤 or Buenos Aires and stuff like that. But, you know, it's still a nice option, especially if you're doing like a date. You know, you got a date that likes to go clubbing and stuff like that. La Chula is a great option because, you know, the people were not like so immature there. You can kind of fall back, be with your girl, but still be in the club without guys coming up trying to dance with her and things like that. So definitely add La Chula to your list. Go check it out. And lastly, I'm going to mention this club called Miranda. A lot of you guys probably seen it or know about it. It's right next to Geras, not in Provenza, but under Geras, closer to Parque Poblado. And I would say that's really for the younger crowd, like 25 and under, because whenever I went there last time, it was just like so many kids in there, like 18 to 25 probably. So, you know, if for the young viewers that's watching me, that's definitely a spot you can check out, Miranda. And it's decently priced, but there's always a lot of people there. It's usually packed on Saturdays, Fridays, and things like that. Especially when there's a holiday, you might catch it on a Sunday as well. So that's it, guys. I just wanted to come to you and give you some more options outside of Geras and Provenza, because I just noticed Provenza is not what it used to be to me anymore. Back in the day, I used to love going out in Provenza, but now the women there are so bougie all the time. And then you got to compete with all the working women. And then on top of that, it's a bunch of gringos everywhere that don't know what they're doing or what's going on. So if you have experience with Colombia and you're feeling like you're ready to branch out, go check out some of the spots that I mentioned in today's video. It's your boy Kari, and you're watching Kari.HQ. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this video, and I'm out. Oh, and if you need to book a consultation, you want some one-on-one help, you need someone with boots on the ground, hit me up in my DM on Instagram, and we can get you scheduled where we can talk about anything you need to know about Colombia, about Medellin. I'm going to make sure that you guys stay safe and out of hot water, guys. It's important that you know what you're doing out here, because most of the issues that people are having out here, they just come from not having the right information and not really knowing what's going on. So I'm gonna make sure you know what's going on.